So, I'm back. Today's video is sponsored by my anxiety and will to live. So, I'm just kidding. We don't have any sponsors today. So, yes. Now, many of you that are not new here may have noticed my new intro, and that is what we're going to be going over today. Well, I mean, obviously, like, if you couldn't tell from, like, the thumbnail, you may have just clicked on this video without actually knowing what it's about, which is, like, not likely. Where was I going with this? Not exactly sure, but we're gonna be doing animation on Procreate, and that's because every single video that I have seen has not helped me whatsoever. Like, nothing. I should have just learned it by myself. Like, I basically did, because every single time that I went to go look at a video, they didn't tell me how to export it in the correct format to put it on Instagram, which is very important. You should follow my Instagram. They didn't really show you how to do smooth animation and time it correctly. So I'm going to be showing you all of the crap that they didn't today. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first thing we're going to do with this baby is we're going to open Procreate, because otherwise this wouldn't be a video about how to animate on Procreate. Just facts here. What we're going to do is we're going to open Procreate, and then we're going to open it and select a file format. I'm gonna select HD in YouTube format and just select it here. Let's begin. Start off, everything is gonna change based off of the type of animation that you're gonna be making. So if you're making a more in-depth animation, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is, if you want an alternative background, is you're going to fill this whole layer with your background. So say I want a, like, maybe like a peachy colored background, so I would kind of go on the color wheel, move it here. Actually, no, that's disgusting. So let's go with a black background instead. This layer is going to be kind of like its own frame. So if you were to turn on Animation Assist in this little wrench over here in the corner and go to Canvas and then click Animation Assist and turn it on. Now, from here, what you have on your background is going to be your background. So you're going to click on the layer here and set it to background, and this will go consistently throughout your whole entire animation. You can do several other things. How I made my intro was I basically used the layers. However, when you add a frame, it does the same thing. So from here, you want to either make your character or whatever it is. But if you do make something, say you're drawing a person, right? So you have like their little face or whatever, and you're like super happy with that, but you want a hat on a different layer, but you don't want it to be its own frame. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make another layer, but you're gonna drag it into this one to make a new group. Now, a group is treated as a frame within the Animation Assist. So this hat will be in the same frame. From here is where things get a little complicated, because this is where you start doing your timing. I suggest doing your timing throughout the whole entire process. However, if you want to do it at the end, that's more depression for you. I mean, do you, whatever, I don't care. But when you tap on this layer here, when you do this, you could set it as the foreground, or you can duplicate it, or you can hold duration. What hold duration basically does is set it up so that it can have how many frames you want it to show for. So if I want this guy with a freaking hat to show for 3 frames, it's gonna create 3 frames, and they're gonna be like this darker ghost of your original frame here, because it's not creating a duplicate, but it is just adding 3 more of the same frame. If you want smooth animation, I suggest going with a frame rate of 2, so like 2 frames per second, or I think that's basically what it is, but I usually hold it for just like an extra frame. But what I like to do is I like to duplicate it, and that totally depends on what you're doing. But the thing is about duplicating is that when you go back, you'll have to edit each individual frame if you do make edits. So say like I edit this frame and I'm like, ooh, wow, amazing, he has body now. I swear I can draw. I swear. I at the moment I don't care. So say this is your little guy, right? So this frame is going to be the exact same. However, if say you duplicate this frame, right? You duplicate it, and you notice that the little ghost frame goes away, and that's just because it's like, hey, you just duplicated this again, and I'm not gonna play it for 3 frames when you said you only wanted it to hold for 1 frame, which makes sense, right? Makes sense. Procreate's being nice, but sometimes I wish it wouldn't do that, because then I have to go back and duplicate everything again. Many of you may be thinking, why does she do 2 frames per second? Why not just 1 frame per second? Well, there's a reason for that, because it's super difficult to have a smooth animation with just ones, and it's good to just like be able to duplicate things over frames because you need something that's like smooth, or if you're trying to migrate an action from one place to another, like how I did with my vines in the intro. If you duplicate it and then in the actual physical group and then erase. Also, I need to mention onion skins. So, onion skins are a great thing. However, sometimes they can get in the way. So, you can always go to the settings over here, and this will give you the frames per second, which is basically how fast your animation is, and also your onion skins frames. Sometimes I like to go between 1 and 2 because I don't like to see everything, because onion skin kind of helps you see like what you did before. So if I were to add a frame, you see how there's like this little ghost person, and it's not as vibrant as it was before, like here. So it's basically trying to help you figure out what to do next for the next frame. Got your guy again, and then you can kind of go back through this and just kind of see how that looks. Or you can actually press play, which is how fast your frames per second will do. Like, see, you can slow it down and it will be very slow. But I like to keep mine at 15 frames per second. And that's what I used for my intro. If we go up to the gallery here and we go back to my animation, which is over here, it has the frames down here, as you can see. And if I go through them, I set the white circle on the pink background as my full background so that I didn't have to keep duplicating it throughout the whole thing. So in order to start this animation off, I started with the 2 colors on the side, which are eventually going to become vines. However, to do this, I had to duplicate this layer here twice and just make 2 extra ones. But then after that, I just added to the frame, which was a little bit difficult. I duplicated that again. Here, I duplicated this frame, I think. No, I did not, actually. I'm lying. But I added droplets. It doesn't have to be super accurate, like every 2 frames, because that might seem a little mechanical. But, I mean, you always could. I continued to make them, like, branch out further. And for this, I would duplicate this layer and then draw the droplets over here and then erase the previous droplet. So here you can see the onion skin of me, like of the frame that's to come. However, if you were to still be in the process of making this, you would see the frame behind, or actually you wouldn't see it. This is another thing that also is kind of different. Like, you can change the opacity of the onion skin. I like to I kind of keep it between 60 and 50%. This is where we get to the fill part of the melon on the inside. I took the vine and I extended it over here, and I knew exactly which order I kind of wanted to have each of the things fill. So in order to get that fill effect, I referenced the circle that was like in the end, which it showed me an onion skin because I drew that first. I filled in the circle little by little with just like random little blobs to make it look like it's liquid. I showed the drop of the pink going in, but as the drop of pink is going in, notice how this disconnected, so the vine is no longer needed, so I just erased it continuously. As that finally dropped, this vine is also disappearing. This reached here, I drew a circle, filled the circle, which was very fast, and then just used the image that I've already created. And here, this was the worst part of animating. I basically took each letter and I added it to the canvas. So I had to take the M, duplicate it, and then add an O and move it over. Once I grouped them, they were no longer a text shape, so I couldn't edit the text itself. I basically created the bite mark and then started to go over it with the pink to make it look like it was being drawn over. Now, taking a look at my layers, now I didn't really group anything, even though I totally could have, but there are like a million layers here because I just decided to be a difficult person and not group anything. Now we're gonna go back to that previous animation that we kind of started, the little stickman guy, and I'm gonna make an actual finished animation and have you guys see all my hand gestures and basically everything else that I do. So, without further ado, let's get started. I have miraculously finished the animation, which it was actually quite longer than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be really simple, but then I wanted to add more and more and more. I feel like this animation will help you improve your line art skills, because I noticed that doing the same repetitive lines over and over again really did help me figure out what I was trying to achieve with my lines. I think without further ado, I show you guys the video. So, lastly, to export this, I completely forgot, even though it's the one thing that none of the videos that I watched included, and I was going to include, was how to export this in video format, not an image file or a GIF file. To export this, you want to go to the little wrench over here, go to share, and then put animated MP4, which is a video file format. If you don't click this, then Instagram will just be a piece of crap and think that you did nothing. I think that about concludes my how to animate with Procreate video, which I've actually never done like a tutorial or anything like that before. But if you did like it, make sure to obviously hit the button. I don't know why you wouldn't, but you do you. Also hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions, or maybe I didn't go over anything that maybe you thought was like super important and I was just like, oop, don't care, please leave a comment. Just let me know, okay? Like I would really like it if you just told me, okay? I'm not a mind reader. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video if you decide to watch one. Yeah, bye. Why is this so trashy? Like, please, somebody help me. Preferences, or prefs, whatever you want to say. You're going to want to, nope. Okay, you don't want to go to preferences. Nope. And then say, like, you erase. So you export this. I completely forgot. If you... Jeez, okay.